call the meeting of the Grafton School Committee for October 26, 2021 to order. It is 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Do we have any public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to general business. We have a district update, including information on masking and vaccinations. Dr. Cummings.
All right, thank you. So everything I have is related to vaccination and masking. As usual, feel free to interrupt me at any time. I put together, 6 or 7 slides covering mask mandate, where we stand in terms of cases. I'll talk briefly about the test and stay program, where we stand with vaccination data and threshold information. In terms of the mask mandate, early this afternoon around 1 o'clock, the state, DESE, extended the statewide mask mandate from November 1st through January 15th. In terms of cases, we've averaged around 5 cases per week, with a high of 9, low of 3. As of today, I think we had 4 more cases so far this week, so we're at 45 cases currently. What you see on the screen is through last Friday. Almost all of the cases up to this point have been student cases. That we had one staff case so far. The test and stay program that we've talked about a number of times, that's been absolutely invaluable. I think statewide, I saw in there the memo that went out today about the masking extension was, I think it was maybe 28,000 days of school have been saved through the program. For us, we've had a total of just shy of 1,000 tests provided to students, again, allowing the vaccinated students who we have to stay in school as opposed to quarantining at home. So that's been absolutely fantastic. I did talk with Jackie Davis, our nursing coordinator, to get a sense of where we stand with the BinaxNOW tests. Right now on premises, we have over 1,500 tests, and they don't foresee any shortage. The state's been fantastic in terms of responding. When we get to a certain number, they send us more. So we've had more than enough, and there aren't any current supply issues or concerns.
Jay, do you have a sense of how many of those were positive versus negative? How many students did we send home?
I can find out. The great majority have been negative.
That's what I was
so they
thinking.
have stayed.
Yeah.
I believe it's just a handful.
I mean, it might even just be 2 or
of it.
3 based on the percentages, but I was
Yeah,
curious.
I can find out, but overwhelming majority have allowed us to have students stay.
That's awesome.
So this is the vaccination data that we've been collecting over the past few weeks. This is as of last Friday. This is our staff vaccination data ranging from 68.4, all school-based, up to 85%. So this is how it stands today. We have received some individuals on staff have handed in their vaccination information since last Friday. That hasn't been incorporated. We're going to continue on a daily basis. The nurses update, obviously, our information. I'll most likely on a weekly or every other week basis summarize and put that out like I did I guess I did early this week, so Monday. So I'll do it in another week or 2. In terms of, there's always confusion, it seems, about everything COVID related, but in terms of the collection of vaccination information from students, I just wanted to be clear about how we were able to get that information. The first piece is that Massachusetts Immunization Information System. A lot of people are unaware of it. I think I largely was prior to all things COVID. So if a parent or guardian takes their child to the pediatrician, almost always they're going to participate in this system, and you'll get the shot, get your checkup, you go home, and then at some point that day they enter your vaccination information into this system. Our nurses are tied to this system. So we can see that, Susie Jones was vaccinated in August. That comes up automatically into our system. The majority of our students, we can access their vaccination information. It's provided to us. Again, accessible by our nursing staff. On top of that, if a parent goes to a pediatrician who doesn't participate in the system, or they go to more of a big, wide-scale clinic outside of their pediatrician's office, they can submit their vaccination information to us, of course. And then the third way, if we don't have any information on a student, our nursing staff, rather than asking everybody to resend, that becomes a massive problem. They took a number of days and called and emailed every single parent that we simply didn't have information on. And they either sent in their information, a vaccination, proof of vaccination, or they said, we're not comfortable saying, or we're not getting vaccinated. Fine. We wasn't judgmental. We just wanted to have an accurate snapshot of where we stood in terms of vaccination. So that MIIS system was really fantastic for us. However, it's largely unknown. So I received numerous emails from people saying, nobody called me, but we had that information already through the system.
Jake, can I just
Of course.
clarify something? So I think that MIIS system, I think it also works if you go through CVS or Walgreens, you don't necessarily have to go through your pediatrician. It's like with your insurance, then they report back to your pediatrician and then it gets in. So if people think I didn't go to the pediatrician because a lot of them weren't using the immunization, they weren't doing the shots, it still works through.
Yeah, it can.
Right.
It seemed to be, you're absolutely correct. I know there are pharmacies that don't participate at the same time,
Yeah.
or they hold clinics at the pharmacy, and it's just, so it seemed to be a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah. Oh, really? Shocker about
Y-
COVID.
Right. But
Yeah.
the majority, we had a lot of the great majority of the information we received was through that system.
So I think the message is if you didn't get a call, you're all set.
Correct, 100%. Great way to put it.
May I ask a question as well? So, this was the situation that happened to me, so I was wondering if maybe it can be explained or sorted out why this would have happened, and, because I've heard this from other parents as well, which is why some parents thought they should have gotten a call or something like that. So I had 2 kids, one in middle school, one in high school. Both went to the same place to get vaccinated. I got a request for one of them to send in the card, not from the other. And I checked, double checked, triple checked, just to see. So maybe they were sent out on in different time frames or something like that. So
The middle school
Maybe.
did.
The middle school sent it
asked,
out, yeah.
middle school asked, but the high school didn't
But then
ask?
they caught up
But she
in the
didn't know that they didn't want to do that.
Okay, so the high school didn't ask the questions.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So are they going to?
No.
Or
No.
No,
they're
you're all
not?
set. You're all set.
They are.
Yeah.
The middle school
Hmm.
should not have asked. The principal was being proactive and
Oh,
trying
I
to get the
see.
information.
I see.
But in reality, because of the MIIS, they were already all set. And then so people started sending in
The problem is,
vaccination
yeah.
data, and they were inundated with data on kids they already had.
Uh-huh.
They already knew those kids were vaccinated.
Is that
So
right?
it took them a while to sort through. I did the same thing. I saw the email and I'm like, oh, all right, this is what we're doing. And I sent it in, and then I found out that I didn't have to do that. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
So is that in line with your understanding as
Yeah,
well?
100%
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
You bet.
awesome.
All right. So this is in terms of, in a second, we'll talk about the threshold piece, but the high school and middle school are the 2 schools that have student populations that would qualify for that 80% threshold if we're at 80%. So obviously you can see up top the different percentages. Obviously our students far outweigh the number of staff. When we lump everybody together and look at the vaccination rate, we are, as of last Friday, at 75.7% at the high school and 73.6% at the middle school. So as of last Friday, short of that 80% threshold. In terms of that threshold information, again, a district can consider, that's through the school committee, can consider moving to optional masking when a school, not a district, a school meets or exceeds a vaccination rate of 80%. That's does include students and staff. The decision would have to be made by the school committee, and existing policy would obviously need to be amended. I get a lot of questions about this. If and when we move to optional masking, what does a school do around busing? That is a separate federal law to have the masking on buses, and as it stands now, students and drivers would still wear masks. We would follow all the same rules in terms of buses when that day comes, unless or until they make a change on the federal level. And I think that's all I have.
Laura?
Can you go back and just, and I know you put it out in your memo, but can you talk a little bit again about how the vaccination and why it might differ, the percentage from the Board of Health information
Yeah.
that people are
Yep.
getting?
Yep, I get a lot of questions about that. So the Board of Health looks at our town as a whole, just Grafton, individuals who live in Grafton. It doesn't have any way, understandably, of sorting out who goes to private schools, who goes to BVT, who goes wherever. So it includes everybody, and it also includes 19-year-olds. That 16 to 19 is that range that gets focused on. So we don't have many, if any, well, we have some 19-year-olds in our 18 to 22 program, but we don't have 19-year-olds. So that number is going to, it's always going to be greater than our school-specific information. Our school-specific information, of course, includes only students who attend Grafton High School and the middle school. And it includes all school choice students. So students who could live in, Worcester, Millbury, wherever. We treat them as if, in this case, they live in Grafton and they are Grafton students, so we have their information. So that's the discrepancy.
Thank you. And can I just ask, can I just make one more clarification? I'm sorry, or just state one more thing? I'm sorry. You can tell the questions I'm getting. So let's say when that eventually goes out and it hits 80, that does not mean that masks come off the next day. I think it was
Correct.
clear in
Yep.
Dr. Cummings' slides before. It comes back to us, and we'll have to have a discussion based on science, based on recommendations, well thought out. So when people keep eyeing this, it's not an instant, okay, my mask comes off. It has to come back, for good or bad, come back to this committee, and then we'll make a thoughtful decision like we always do.
Yes, 100% correct. I'm glad you brought that up.
Just one clarification on that, when you were talking about the test and stay program. I think you said that allows vaccinated students to stay, but I think you meant unvaccinated, right? Because aren't the vaccinated students are exempt from the test and stay?
Correct, sorry.
Okay, no, I just wanted to clarify for people watching, just
Yep,
in
I
case
apologize.
they heard that, and,
Right, yep, they are exempt.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
So on your call today with Commissioner Riley, did he give any indication as to why they made the extension, why they waited? How many schools got the exemption so far? Because that's still pretty muddy too. The only one we've heard about is Hopkinton.
Yeah, Hopkinton's the only one, I can answer both. Hopkinton is the only area district that I know of that's actually moving forward. I did send out a link to an article about a trial basis. The commissioner mentioned that 20 schools in the Commonwealth have applied, but that also includes numerous districts that have applied for it because they've met that threshold. And then, as Laura said, then it still hasn't gone back to school committee. They still haven't hashed out when or if, but they have permission to make that move when and if they make that decision. So just because they applied doesn't mean they're going to move forward.
Yeah, I found it interesting that Hopkinton decided last week that masks will come off beginning November 1st, and then they'll be back on the Monday before Thanksgiving. And they
Right.
used words like trial and experiment. And it made me very uncomfortable, honestly, because I felt like they're experimenting on actual people.
Yep.
Like, that's probably not a good, it's not good optics for sure.
Right.
I think it's smart to say that, this could be temporary. But I think the way that they're framing it is a little bit
Yeah.
odd. I mean, but they're over 90% too. Like, I really don't
They've been
expect.
well into the 90s for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that is a good point, though, that you raised, Amy, is just the, besides the optics, which we would be much better at, is the fact that things could change. You could have another outbreak. We could have, move up the alphabet, and we'll go back. So
Yeah.
I think we continue our flexible thinking and know that, we're just moving forward versus looking back and doing what we've been doing. And
I'll be keeping an eye on
Yeah.
Hopkinton. I'm curious to see
Me too.
what's gonna. But I mean, over 90% vaccination rate. That's awesome. I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
I wish we had that in our community, but we don't. So
yeah.
we have no decision to make tonight.
And the commissioner, in response to the second part of your question, he spoke to the fact that obviously our youngest students have yet to be vaccinated. They expect that to come out in the next couple of weeks. So to begin that process before even considering lifting the mandate was discussed. I forgot I had one more slide. I put this together on Monday. I reached out to area superintendents to get a sense of where other districts in the area stood. Obviously, where we stand. I won't read through it for you. We talked about the high vaccination rates at Sutton and Westboro for both staff and students. And again, none of these districts are right now looking to move to optional. I do believe Westboro was approved to make the change in the last couple of days, but as of whenever I reached out to Amber Bach a day or two ago, they weren't planning to actually make the change yet.
Interesting. Okay. Would we, I mean, I guess this is up to us. If, for example, if the high school ends up, let's say the high school is at like 85% in December, and the middle school is still lagging behind, and maybe this isn't a question for you, maybe this is a committee discussion, would we want to pursue the exemption for just one building, or would we want to wait to see if the middle school were to catch up? I mean, I have my own feelings on it, but I didn't know if that's a, so-
I think we see when the time comes, and I don't know, it's hard to have it, it's hard for me to have a discussion based on presumptions or what ifs, so I think
So
we
we
should
don't
wait
know.
and see.
wait and see.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Thank you. And thank you for all your, and getting out that information earlier in the week. And I know you've been dealing with a lot of questions. So thanks for helping. Was masking a part of superintendent school?
It was not.
It wasn't?
Wasn't.
I think we're going to continue to get questions about staff vaccination.
Sure.
I know that's something
Yeah,
that I've gotten a few just today, people surprised. I'm looking at the numbers, and I have to
Mhm.
admit, they were lower than I thought they would be.
that's probably been the biggest topic over the last couple weeks with superintendents. I mean, we always have topic of the day, but obviously when you jump ahead, both Millbury and Shrewsbury recently, I don't know to what degree they've actually fully implemented it yet. I think Millbury's been doing it for a little while here. And the biggest worry was staff quitting as
Yeah.
a result. I think Millbury is, and this isn't set in stone, this is my recollection from texting with the Millbury superintendent, but I believe they're testing. Anyone who doesn't agree to get the vaccine would have to be tested, I think it's twice a week, and have a negative test.
Are they using, are they using the Binax now for that purpose?
I know it actually varies by district. I believe Millbury, and again, this is just my belief, that they were going to do the testing internally with their nurses, their Binax now.
Mhm.
I can't speak to Shrewsbury, but a lot of other districts do it once a week, and the employee has to go wherever, get the test, and Monday morning, have it.
Yeah, that seems onerous to me. It seems like if you're going to, I'm not a huge fan of telling people they have to get it.
Right.
But if we're going to do that, I feel like that we ought to provide testing to those who can't do that for whatever reason. If it's that they're immunocompromised and
Sure.
their physician says you can't be vaccinated, or for a religious exemption, they can't.
Right.
I feel like if we can use the Binax now tests, and the state is going to continue to provide those, that seems to me to be the way to go. I guess the question is, does the committee think that we ought to tell employees that they need to be tested or to be vaccinated, and if so, by what date would we want to do that by? I know Shrewsbury just last week, when they voted on it, they said by December 1st, and I thought that was a little bit, I mean, it was October like 20, it's like the 21st. They were giving them basically 6 weeks to get a vaccine that
That has been out since,
you have to get 4 weeks apart, and now everybody's rushing to get the booster. I don't know, I thought the timing was a little soon. I don't know, that was just my feeling. But
so, can I ask a question? I should know this, but I don't. Do we ask for vaccinations? I know we do for students. Students do have to provide vaccination records, not for COVID yet. But for staff, like, do we get any vaccinations from them for anything else?
No.
Yeah, to me, it kind of plays in like the 80% of it, I guess. Like, the higher our staff and students are, then they can move to be masked. But if they don't want to be vaccinated, then the mask is going to play a part, I guess, in it. Like, to a lower. I know I didn't say that properly.
well, I guess the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at it from not protecting the students, because everybody says, oh, well, students are all masked, and when the students get COVID, it's not as severe for them. But I'm looking at it from we're running the school district perspective. We can't afford to have staff going out because they got COVID, or because they're a close contact and they have to stay home now. I just feel like we're on that precipice again, where, I mean, how many times have we been talking about Jay and Kristen and Tracy working in buildings? We don't have a strategic plan yet because they're having to sub. I don't think I'm overstating that.
We don't have an updated strategic
Yes.
plan. Let's not say
Okay,
we
we
don't
don't have
have a
an
plan.
updated strategic plan because our administrators are in the classrooms.
I guess fundamentally, I don't have a problem with requiring vaccinations. I mean, businesses do it, the companies are able to do it. But as we've just heard, there's a concern that teachers will leave if required to, that we'll have that problem, which puts us back in the realm of needing more staff again. So if we have that concern, coupled with the fact that, our vaccination rate as it is right now could be a little bit higher, but in some schools it's not bad. We're in the 80s. It's not horrible. It's in line with what we're seeing in the area. I don't want to say town because I know a lot of teachers are not from Grafton. We're requiring them to wear masks and take other safety precautions, just like we did similar to what we did last year. It's not quite as stringent, I know. But, I don't know, I haven't heard the same, I know we're trying to get an update on that, but I haven't heard the same concerns about the spread amongst teachers and teachers being out as we had last year. It seems like last year it was every time we had a meeting, I felt like we were just hanging on and just crossing our fingers that we weren't going to have to shut down because of teacher absences. This year it seems like we're not there yet. And I'd be worried that some, like you said, because you guys are closer to the staff than I think we are, but I'd be worried that some would leave, and that seems to be the sense that you're getting.
Is that the sense, or is that just something that we're hearing? Like, I would want to, we have to talk to the union. I need more feedback than just, we think teachers might quit because we're asking them to get vaccinated. Like,
Sure, I'd be interested. I haven't had this conversation, but reach out to Shrewsbury, reach out to Millbury.
Right.
There are
I
other, I
wanna-
only had a chance to talk to our immediate neighbors, but are people actually seeing that? I would imagine if you have that fallback, and I haven't talked to Jackie Davis about this, but if we're going to set up something with the Buy Next Now, you know, how does that work? I don't think it will be the tipping point, but our nurses are, you know, here, and now, I don't know how many people we're going to be looking at testing. I don't have a good sense of it.
and it's, yeah, I
I
would
want to talk, I can
yeah.
come back with, certainly with a recommendation in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I guess I need to hear from
Or
our
before that.
employees and thinking about, I mean, not that that's going to drive it, I mean, completely drive it, but they might not be like, the majority of them, I mean, majority of them are already vaccinated, looking at this.
Correct, the majority are, and this, again, takes into account all employees. So people will reach out and say, oh,
Right.
our teachers are a sizable
Yeah,
number, but
well, we wouldn't
Not
mandate,
the
we would just
great
mandate
majority.
for teachers? I mean,
no,
No.
I wouldn't think so.
right, so I would want to talk, I should have said, stated, I'm sorry, all of the unions, like, I would like to hear from.
Oh, yeah, no, I understood. I just don't want people making
Yeah,
the
no, that's-
judgment that all teachers aren't vaccinated.
Right, or that they're all
that's
up, I
really
mean,
not
I just don't know,
the
you know,
case.
this seems like an internet-like thing, like, we've seen some police, you know, I mean, it's all over the country,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
don't know what's,
So
I don't know if I have a good idea on what's happening.
I'm going to get an idea from Jackie Davis in terms of the nursing part, the Buy Next Now. Kristen and I can look at existing policy, impact bargaining, we can easily do that. What was the other piece?
Yeah, I think we're trying to have a conversation now without
Yeah, right,
information, which is
right.
not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to get us very far.
100%.
So
So,
wi- Kristen and I, with your permission, we can brainstorm exactly what we need to basically put together a report for you. Draft our outline, share it with the committee, see if there's anything, let's have a group effort, and if you think of something we're missing, fantastic. That gives us, in a week, we'll easily have it together.
Thanks, yeah, that would be helpful.
And Liz, you had brought up the absences, you're absolutely right. Last year, when somebody was a close contact or had COVID, they were out for a good chunk of time. Now the struggle is not that. We've had, I think, one staff member. It's that we just we just have regular absences and no staff. It's just as brutal, but it's definitely different.
Yeah, we don't want, I wasn't trying to see if we could vote on it tonight. I just wanted to see where people stand, and I think
Yeah.
that's good.
No, that is good. We can definitely do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
actually, can I ask one more question?
Mhm.
Have you seen any improvement of the substitute situation since we increased the rates? I know it's been not long, but I did hear some discussions in the schools where people seemed enthusiastic about it, so.
So I mean, I have had several orientations, and so we do have some community members that have been interested in substituting. I don't know that I could necessarily correlate it to the increase in the rate. I can say, though, that that is a plus, and I think our existing substitutes are thrilled by that. And then our principals really have been pushing out to community members, if you're interested in substituting. I have another orientation on Friday, November 3rd, I think is that Friday, or 5th. And I have a number of substitutes in that as well. So, and I do have to say too, I know that either Laura or Amy said, you know, we're in the buildings and helping out. All staff are stepping up and filling in places that they wouldn't normally be assigned to. And we really appreciate that because it's all hands on deck.
My concern is that everybody's going to burn out that much faster. You know, I'm seeing articles about teacher burnout already.
Oh,
and it's
no
October.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
know, and
reminds me.
administrators too. Like, we can't get through the school year this way. This is not,
No, no.
so somebody, a teacher on Twitter said something about, giving up prep periods and, basically all the teachers are going to quit. It wasn't a Grafton teacher. And I said, well, I'm honestly asking, what do you propose? We've tried raising the sub pay. We've tried hiring subs, like what are some creative solutions that are out there? And like, I got all the same stuff back with one exception. And that was, instead of hiring subs on a per diem, hiring permanent subs that you keep on and you pay whether or not they work, which gives you that job security piece that they don't ordinarily have. And I don't know if a market exists for that, if that's something that would appeal to the kind of people in our community that, if they can quit a job at, I don't know, Cumberland Farms or something and just be full-time for the Grafton schools, if that would give us more flexibility. But it was the one thing that I hadn't seen before. So I figured I'd pass that on.
We did post, last year, we had 6 building sub positions. We did have 1 filled at the high school for the entire year. And we had 1 at the middle school for a few months. But you're right. I mean, that's another thing that comes up often. We did, and we'll continue to push that out there.
Well, good luck. I don't envy any of you. All right, are we done with masking and vaccines? All right, we'll move on to MASC resolutions. Push my to the side. So I don't think we officially voted to make Laura the delegate.
You have to get it in as soon as possible.
I know, I
so-
have the form. I have it
I
ready
can
to
do
go.
it on loan. Okay.
But,
think
because I
can
have
do
to
it
sign
online.
it, but I didn't want to send it in because we hadn't actually officially voted yet.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's too late.
It's not,
It's
it's due
not.
tomorrow, I checked.
All right, awesome.
So, I'll take a motion to appoint, Laura as Grafton's rep, delegate for the MASC conference. Annual meeting.
Moved.
You have to second it,
Oh, second, sorry. Yep, second.
because I can't.
No, I know. I was thinking when she said so moved thing. I'm gonna was
All right.
me off.
Laura's gonna do a great job.
Wait, no, we haven't a discussion. I have a discussion item.
Oh, we're doing discussion now. I'm saying you're gonna do a great job.
I might, but the discussion is you don't have to actually physically go to MASC. I just want to throw it out there. I know you won't be available, but Liz, if this is something you want to do on Saturday, November 6th, you could stay at home and do it.
Are they
Your
doing the meeting on
computer.
Zoom?
I believe that it is virtual and not. I just don't want to take away any opportunities from my fellow committee. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but if you really wanted to do it, I just don't want you to think I have to do it. Because again, I would never want to take away
Well, I
opportunity.
did nominate you, so.
I think that means she doesn't want to do it.
Okay, I'm so excited.
You're gonna do a good job.
I am.
I think it's gonna go a lot faster this year. There are fewer resolutions and with the in-person piece.
It's going to be amazing, and I'm excited to get the little flag on my badge.
And along that same line, Laura, you don't have to accept the nomination either, so.
That's true. I'll accept
Don't want
it.
to do it.
I'm nothing if not a
You may
team
speak
player
up.
for this committee. I love you all.
I can't wait to get the updates. All right. All those in favor of Laura being our delegate to MASC? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 3-0.
Did you vote?
Hmm?
Did you vote?
Yeah, I just said aye.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited about one of the resolutions.
You are?
Yeah, number
Well,
9.
I was gonna say, would you like to take us through the resolutions,
Oh, God.
Madam Delegate?
Oh, boy.
I mean,
I heard
honest-
that in my bad ear, by the
It
way.
wasn't about, it wasn't
I was
about
just
our
gonna
delegate, it was about the
Did anybody, well,
resolution.
let me just say, did anybody have any strong
I was gonna
feelings?
say, could we take this as a consent? I didn't. Oh, no.
Oh,
You're
Yeah.
going to have to convince me because I'm the delegate and I'm for all of them. So you'll have to make a good case,
Okay,
Madam.
well, I would like to have a discussion on some of them, yeah, because there are some that I just questions and I'd like to hear, I can be swayed, so I'd like to take them one by one, I think. Or
All
maybe
of
we
them?
could have a discussion on a
Maybe I
couple.
don't have any, so why don't you just raise, instead of one by one,
Okay.
take your discussions,
Sure.
maybe.
And I realize what this is, or, I realize that this is just voting for the MASC to support these resolutions, so we're not, it's
Yeah,
not
this
going
isn't a
any
thing.
further than
It
that.
takes years,
Yeah.
if ever, for these to happen.
I suppose I'll just go through so resolution 1, yes, I did not have an issue with that. Resolution 2, the Homework gap and Wi-Fi internet, totally see that. I understand the issue that they outlined. I just don't know how that would be funded. And so it didn't go that far. So I wasn't sure exactly what we'd be supporting there.
I think it is advocating the federal government, so it would be coming funding from the federal
Pushing for federal funding
government.
for it?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Support federal- Okay. I mean, it was a little vague, but yeah, I guess,
There-
yeah, I see, I support, I guess they mean financial and,
Yes.
and everything else. Okay. I don't really have a problem with that. The IDA Full Funding Act, let's see, I don't have a problem with that other than why is it not, do we need this legislation to have it fully funded?
Because they're not fully funding it, so
But aren't they supposed to? Isn't there something in place already that tells them to and they're just not, or? That's what I wasn't clear about why it's needed.
Yeah.
It says far less, that there was 40% promised.
right. So they're
So-
not, so I think this, again,
Why
it's
is it
not
not-
a law, they're just trying to, this is what we're gonna advocate for. So we're
Yeah.
gonna use our resources as MASC to kind of push our representatives in the state to really fully fund it. It's like fully funding
Yeah.
chapter 40 or chapter 40, what the hell?
I was going to say, what's chapter 40?
Chapter 70.
Yeah, but they were proposing an act. It sounded like
Well, that's when the,
legislation
yeah, I
to
don't think
fund
it's,
what's already.
Some of it's some, I know you're getting your law hat
I
on,
know,
but
I know.
think for me,
Yep.
what I would do too is are we supporting the idea of this? Are we behind? And I cannot sit on a school committee and say that we're not going to be behind fully funding the IDEA Act. I mean,
No, but that's not what this resolution is saying. That's why I wanted to discuss it. I know I need to probably, back off this a little bit and not read it so precisely.
I can certainly bring
but
up some on the floor ways to make it a better
doesn't
resolution.
need to be an act or just support to make it fully funded. That's my only question with that.
well, I just want to be clear that MASC is not proposing an act. It's proposing to resurrect an act that already existed. Reintroduce and promote passage of an act that already exists. It's the last line.
Okay. Promote an act that already exists. Okay.
Reintroduce and promote the
That's,
passage
my
of-
question was just why we have to, it
That's
just
a
seems
great
like to
question to
That's a
ask
great
our
question.
state rep and our state
Yep.
senator on why they're not fully.
I agree.
to reintroduce it and reenact it, just.
So it must have died on the floor or not have been, I mean, I'm not totally up to speed, but I'm guessing it just hasn't been a priority of our government.
Well, this is how you remind,
This is how you,
this is how you remind our representatives to do their job.
Well, that's what, I mean, in the end, it says the IDEA Full Funding Act, which is different than.
Yes.
That's a new act.
So the act was created to remind our representatives that they're not doing their job. It did not pass.
Okay, but that's not, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll let it go. It's just, it's not the purpose of an act, but.
Okay.
this is why you could be a good delegate.
To annoy everyone to death.
Well, I think it
No.
begs the question, I
Very
mean, Laura,
particular
it begs the
question.
question, why do we need this? We shouldn't need this. This is something that should be happening anyway.
You're
I
so
just
right. I find that about a lot of educational updates and things. Why do we need this?
I think resolution 3, I think it could be worded better where it would say that the MASC fully supports the full funding of IDA. And that we're going to promote it, that we're going to push for it without putting in place another act. I don't think we need the other act. First of all, it takes a lot of time and energy and people hours, and I think we can do it. I think we can promote it without having to get an act in place to do it.
Did you see on the bottom of page 6 what the act does?
Yep.
Okay.
I did. I read the whole thing.
Amy, do you agree with Liz? Because I am not, I have to go with what the committee, and there's only 3 of us here, and
I don't. I think the wording is fine.
Okay.
I think it's doing something specific. It's proposing an incremental 7-year increase in funding, and it had bipartisan support.
Okay, great.
So I would support it because it should be happening anyway without the act, but at the same time, this act is very specific. It already exists. They're just bringing back an act that failed before.
And I really think some of these, just based on my experience with MASC now, this is kind of what just drives the organization. Like, that's what their initiatives are and goals. And I've seen these years of resolutions that kind of go, you know, so it's our job now that I'm on my Division 4 board that we'll have to think what, sorry, Jack, what we'll have to do to go and what we want to help push through. I find that some of these are a little lip service, I guess.
Well, I feel like Resolution 4 is an example of that recess. That I
Right.
don't think that's going to go anywhere. I mean, it reads well.
Yeah.
I agree with the idea that, you know, children need.
It's just saying that this
recess.
organization that we're a part of supports it, and do we
Yeah.
as a committee support it, I think. So, I don't know.
There's a typo in it.
I'll be sure to, I'm gonna be the most popular delegate.
You should.
Yeah,
The most popular delegate last year was not very nice.
I think the recess question too is just, do we want, I mean, this isn't saying, yes, we think recess is good and we think kids should get, you know, get recess. It's of course, you know, that's easy to agree with. But this says specifically, therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees support legislation, bill number, calling for at least 20 minutes of uninterrupted, supervised, safe, and unstructured free play at recess per day, which cannot be excluded from structured learning time requirements. Okay, I need a breath. And may not increase the total number of hours required in the school year of Massachusetts elementary school students. So it's very specific about 20 minutes of uninterrupted play, yada, yada. And my question is just, is that too binding for some schools? You know, we might be able to work with that, but in some schools, can they only squeeze in 15 minutes? That I
Well, no,
don't
and
know.
that's,
Is it too much to mandate that every school in the Commonwealth has to have 20 minutes of unstructured play? I think it's nice, but that's the question mark that's in my head.
so I would answer that we should be pushing for 20 minutes of unstructured play. So what are they using their time for? They're going back to the Reform Act and all these things that have pushed kids back in the classroom, less on the recess. So yeah, we're trying to help schools and push them through to get them to this 20 minutes because that's what's best for kids. So I would say yes. We're trying to get even more recess, and it should be counted in the time on learning, you know, like that should be part of the school day for elementary schools. And yeah, we're lucky we can do it, but a lot of schools can't, and we need to make sure that those kids aren't also losing out because they're not getting that 20 minutes of unstructured play.
Because the schools can't. So
Well, we don't know why they
have to
can or
figure out
can't.
that they have to figure out a way to.
Well,
into their
unfortunately,
day.
sometimes that's what happens. You get these mandates, but maybe they're spending time because, you know, they're sitting in their classrooms relearning, or they're just thinking about different ways on how to teach and learn.
But I know that there are some schools that have turned recess into a structured
Right.
play, which is not good for social emotional development. When you have grown-ups telling you what to do all the time, you're nodding, so I know you agree. You know, you don't learn how to problem solve. You don't learn how to interact with others. You don't. It was a very popular thing, this idea of a recess curriculum. That, you know, no, kids need to be able to be kids, and so many kids don't get to play with other kids outside of school. You know, they go from school to either home or after-school care where they're managed there. I'm a big fan of 20 minutes of recess. I would support this. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, and I think that if it does, the schools will just figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
What else?
5, I think is good.
Six, I thought was already happening. Am I wrong?
I think it's just been discussed so much. I didn't think it was officially happening. I mean, we still have the high stakes to graduate. You still have to take the test, right?
So they're not going to take that away for, I'm looking at Jay.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't,
coming, I'm
They're just
coming.
researching other ways, so.
number 6.
As long as it's not, they don't talk about, well, obviously they wouldn't in this, but I don't know if they're paying people to do that. I don't know what that would cost, but if they're just establishing a volunteer commission to research alternative means.
Yep. The alternatives are
Yeah.
definitely very limited and very
Yeah.
rigid, no question about it.
Well, because of federal law, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is, I guess to me, it's like this is where government starts. It takes so long to make any effective change. But if we want to see something happen with alternative to MCAS, which I do, it has to start.
I do. I mean, I'm watching this happen with SATs too, where,
Ugh.
you know,
Yeah.
none of the schools that my daughter applied to are requiring SATs this
Right.
year.
Right, which is
And they're all enjoying it. They're like, you know, we're getting to know the students better because they're submitting additional stuff, you know, portfolios and whatnot. And I think that gives you a better sense of a student's ability to succeed.
well, and talk about equity. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
geared towards a certain type of student. I mean, it's just, it's time to, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm babbling.
Resolution 7, I did not have an issue with that. Resolution 8,
Yeah.
that MASC is going to petition Congress to appropriate $30 billion for improving the electric supply infrastructure and providing electric buses and charging stations.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Is that
gonna
part
be,
of the, is that part of the
I
plan?
don't know, I mean,
it's not gonna go anywhere. But again,
I'm not gonna vote for something because it's not gonna happen. I mean, I think that's a lot of money that could be better used for our schools than making electric buses right now.
Yeah, but they won't give it to us. That's kind of-
Again,
kind of the
I
point.
don't think that's a reason to
I could be
support
swayed to be
something.
voted to no on number 8. I
I
mean,
just think the money could be used elsewhere. If we're going to ask for money for something, it would not be for electric buses right now. I think electric buses are very nice. I think they'd be great, but
So I think this feels like a Hail Mary to me, that it feels to me more like a attention grabber
yeah.
than an actual, we think we're gonna get $30 billion to improve the electrical infrastructure. And you'd need way more than that for the nation. Sorry, $30 billion is not going to put electric school buses in every district in America.
so I think it kind of erodes the MASC's credibility a little bit if they're asking for something like this.
No, I think it raises awareness about climate change and why we should do better, and just, I think just, again, as a conversation starter, they probably, I mean, I don't know.
I don't see it passing.
No, me neither. The passing at the MASC?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna pass. Based on the discussion that I saw last year about, you know, the ones we had last year, I think it's gonna fail. I mean,
I don't have a strong feeling one
Yeah.
way or
I think
another.
it's kind of ridiculous.
I think it's a Hail Mary, but
Well, delegate's choice sounds like, I don't know.
what?
See how I feel in the morning.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to,
I'm just kidding.
I'm kind of ambivalent about it.
See if you
Liz
get
is a
nominated
no,
next year.
But,
Good. I don't want to be nominated this year.
but no, see which way the wind is blowing.
We'll see how my Friday night goes. This is
It is.
it's a long week to be there.
You're there the whole time?
Well, I've never been there till, this is on Saturday. It's tough for me to, I mean, it's tough, so
Yeah.
I'm not 100% committed to be honest. It's a long week. And I have some things going on at home on Saturday, so
Okay, well, speak up while we're in a meeting.
I'm just saying.
If it's a problem and you really don't want to do it, I will do it.
Okay, put Liz down as our second.
As what?
Our second.
Alternative?
You
Oh,
need
the
a-
We
alternate?
have an alternate?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need
We
to
can do
vote
that.
on that, right?
I nominate Liz to be the alternate.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. There you go.
Okay.
And number 9.
I'm 100% against.
What?
I'm just kidding. Number 9 is prohibiting the use of Native American mascots.
I just want to say, I think the Gators are doing a really great job winning at basically everything. And I don't think that that is a coincidence.
Okay, so I'm just, again, wondering about okay, first of all, they've already passed a resolution last year that said that school districts should guarantee that racist practices are eradicated and diversity, equity, and inclusion be embedded in practice for all students, families, faculty, and staff. Okay, so then this new resolution calls for an end to the use of Native American images. Obviously, I supported that here. I voted for that, was in favor of that here. I don't know what this means if something like this, I always think if we're going to support a resolution and then people are going to go and try to get something passed, then the effects of it have to be seen. So I don't know what this means for districts.
Means
If it
districts
were to be
can't claim
passed-
that it's not racist.
Could I finish my
Sure.
sentence though? If they actually accomplish this and it's passed, not by the MASC, but by the state, then do they have to spend the money to stop using all of those mascots? You know, we made those decisions for ourselves here based on what we were able to do and how we were going to roll that out and how we didn't have the money to replace everything. But if this is eradicated and we go to every school district in the Commonwealth and say, you can no longer use this, you have to strip all of your, I don't know what that means to them at the time. I think I agree with it in theory, but I just, not knowing the rest of that. And I know, Laura, you probably can't go and could never go and say no because of just the optics of it and what this, the message that it sends, which I support that. I'm asking the question for a discussion here today. What does it mean?
I'm looking
if
it up.
this
Because
would
it's
go
supporting
forward?
a specific bill.
Yeah,
And I believe the bill contains a sunset clause, where the districts would have a
So they
certain
have a
amount of
certain amount of
time.
time?
Yes. So I'm looking that up now, but I'm pretty sure I read that in a version of the bill a while ago. Oh, no, my internet is,
294.
yeah. And it's not, here we go. New text. Yeah, I mean, we eliminated our mascot, but you can still find it around town. It's
Yeah,
still here. It's
yeah,
gonna take
it's-
years to get rid of it
Yeah.
completely. But I did like the note at the bottom, that if a particular tribe basically partners with a district and says, yes, we give consent and that there's an educational program around it, that will be permitted.
I think this will be an interesting discussion. It'll be interesting to see.
You think?
That just depends who's there, I guess.
So they're not allowed to buy anything new, is what it says.
Okay.
They can't buy anything new with a native mascot on it. It doesn't say, they have to get rid of everything immediately. The school shall remove the prohibited name, logo, or mascot no later than the next time the associated part of the facility is replaced in the normal course of maintenance. So that eliminates the undue burden on having to replace all the gym floors and the football field and all of that.
Chairs in your middle school auditorium.
I know, I was thinking about that the other day. They're still there. Can't we just go through and pry those off? I don't think we can.
Chairs would disintegrate.
I bet they would.
Yeah, we're covering them.
What?
We're covering them.
The chairs?
No,
That mask
the
logo.
the old logo.
Really?
Yeah.
Covering them with,
Stickers.
nice.
Stickers of like you?
Mostly me. Yeah.
Brad Pitt?
Those two.
Kind of. That's
That's
awesome.
actually what we were getting from Sunshine Signs today with Maroska's nameplate.
Oh, nice.
So they're ordered and coming in momentarily.
Cool.
Probably by tomorrow.
Oh, that's neat.
And we'll cover the existing signs. I mean, they're like all over the place, especially at the middle school, and they generally are about 4 inches in diameter. So rather than get all
What's
new
on the
signs,
sticker? The G or like
yeah,
Oh,
Yep, yep,
go Packers.
yes. So.
Couldn't get a little
We are
little
working
gator?
on it.
No, what if we change the gator?
We
Gators
can
turn out
always,
to be bad animals.
Grafton will always start with G, so we'll
We
go
can-
with that.
Okay.
Sorry, Liz.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you, Amy. I didn't see the citation to the actual bill there, so thank
This-
you
this
for calling my
particular-
attention to
this
that and
particular
bringing it
one-
up here. Yeah,
The
that's,
board has to establish a date,
yep,
after which, that'll be Desi will establish a date by which any school in violation of the regulations have to choose a
yeah,
new.
that's reasonable.
So North Brookfield may find they have to go back again to something else. Yeah. All right, so we're a yay on that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
We're a yay.
I'm fine with it, given
Yay.
the actual text of the bill, yeah.
All right. There we are.
So then, do we still need to make a motion? Do we want to, now that we kind of discussed them, we did it a little backwards, and that was my fault, but do we want to go line by line and vote? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but just go resolution 1, or can we do a consent for all of them?
Unless, well, it seemed like the only, I mean, speak up if otherwise, but it seemed like the only one that I might have convinced anyone else was on the electric school bus, resolution 8, but,
I could take or leave that.
Yeah, I'd probably
Okay.
vote yes in the moment. but Not if you guys told me to vote no, I would absolutely do what you recommend.
Well, with 8, I'm happy to kind of let you use your judgment on that, because it was one of those last time,
Yeah.
where we discussed it as a committee, and it was kind of, I forget what it was about
I
now.
think we said no, too, didn't we?
I think we did say no.
Yeah,
And it ended up no.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what if, yeah, I mean, okay. What if I'm the deciding vote of all of the districts?
Then
No.
vote no.
Super exciting for
Then
me.
vote no. We don't want to spend $30 billion on.
Or we can vote no.
If we can have $30 billion, I want to spend it on later start times.
I want to spend it on paying our staff.
That too. We can do a lot with $30 billion.
Okay, so where are we voting?
I move that we send our delegate to the conference with a yes vote on resolutions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9.
Second.
Discussion. We imply then that 8 is either no or
Maybe getting another motion.
maybe getting another motion. All right, any further discussion? No?
No.
Okay, all in favor? Aye,
I
All right.
3-0.
I move that the school committee send our delegate to the MASC conference to vote no on resolution 8.
Second? I can second.
Second.
I can second.
You can
could
second,
Okay.
yeah.
Discussion. What do you guys think?
I think it's a cool idea. I don't think, like you guys think, I don't think we need it now. 30 billion is a lot. So
Over 2 years, 30 billion over 2 years. That's
I
a-
think it could raise awareness, but there's a lot of other things we should raise awareness towards before the buses.
All right. Any other discussion? Thank you for weighing in on that. All right. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
2-1.
Yeah.
There you go. Be happy if we could just have school buses that work and have drivers.
I just think we need to start somewhere with the climate, and we have to do something.
Yep.
Otherwise, well, this will all be, no discussion will matter, because we're gonna be underwater.
Still in discussion on that?
No.
No.
I didn't think so, okay.
Future agenda planning. Okay, so we've had to move some things. So we moved Bob and Nicole. Where did you put teaching and learning, Jay? Tonight's teaching and learning with the budget.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
reset Tracy yet. At the very least, it would be December 14th. Budget-wise, in the grand scheme of things, that the curriculum budget is largely going to be unchanged.
Okay.
Okay, so those were moved from our original agenda tonight
Yeah,
to
so Bob and
November
Nicole were
9th.
moved from tonight to next week, next meeting. CPAC was supposed to be this week. They asked to be moved, so they're moved as well. So the next meeting will be,
Where's CPAC?
They're currently on the
9th
9th.
now.
Are
Oh,
they
they're also the
confirmed for
okay,
that?
I can't
Amy?
remember.
I'm sorry?
Did they confirm for that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
And
Oh,
Bob DeTome is gonna come in, this was my mistake, but it actually worked out. He's gonna come in and introduce, us to his interns at GCTV, which is exciting. He's been making the rounds.
Also on the 9th?
Yes, it'll be very quick,
Okay.
very quick. Neil is usually pretty quick, if I remember right, so I don't think that's gonna take a lot of time.
We crunched for time on the 9th?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry about. Okay.
Just a little crunch for time. I was gonna talk to you
All
over
right.
it, but if I have to leave early, Liz can just pick up my slack.
Okay,
So we'll talk to Liz.
I'm in Cancun.
Hmm?
I'm in Cancun.
Yeah.
Oh,
all
you're in
night.
Cancun.
I'm running the
right?
meeting, so
She's gonna run the meeting.
yeah,
Okay.
Which means we need Jen and Rahul to be here.
or just Jen. I mean, I'll make it
Well,
work.
not
I
if you're
just-
gonna leave
Or if you're gonna
early.
leave.
I would just want to be efficient. So if there's something, maybe we can move. Because I didn't when this was originally planned. We have 2 things now, and like maybe we can connect.
Yep.
We're gonna have a preliminary FY '23 budget that day, Jay?
Out of everything, we can easily take that off.
All right, why don't we plan for that
Yeah.
then?
Let's wait till we have
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
more
that.
people
Yeah, me
here to
too.
hear it.
Thank you.
Yep. Nope,
The
good.
panics. Sorry,
Good to know.
it's a family obligation.
Okay, so that'll move to the 30th, so we'll just have CPAC, Special Ed Report Tech, Tech Planning. Bob DeTome will be here, he needs 3 minutes.
How much does CPAC want?
I'm sorry?
How much, and CPAC just
CPAC
stay-
usually
how
does
long
about 10, 15-minute presentation and then questions,
Okay,
if that.
yeah, okay. Does seem like it's adding up, though. But
Well,
maybe
and it's funny
okay.
because I had wanted to have them, initially, they were gonna come in this week with Bob and Nicole.
Oh, but Leora's gone.
And then they couldn't,
yeah.
and then Bob and Nicole couldn't come too. And I wanted to have them at the same meeting anyway, because it just makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Usually I can work things out, but
I think that's gonna work
Oh,
out.
it's good to know. We have to plan that.
I don't think it's gonna be that long.
Okay.
Are there any other items that we need to add? I put Tracy on the 14th. And then we're gonna start our school updates in the new year. The best time of the year. Yay.
yeah, and we have a lot. We do have several meetings on a budget, so I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
That's- Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, good.
Well, and I'm gonna have
Thank
a
you.
huge delicate report, so I'm gonna add that in.
I don't think it's gonna be huge.
It is. I'm gonna make a PowerPoint.
I'll be on a plane. I'll watch the recording. I don't think I'm gonna have Wi-Fi on the plane, so I can't watch live.
And at one point, I started to cry.
Go back and watch my report from last year.
You're gonna.
I did cry. All right. Anything else on future agendas?
think so.
Okay. Approval of minutes. We have a set of minutes.
Yes.
They did not make the book. We
Okay.
just received
Oh,
them this
okay.
afternoon.
I don't
I was
have
assuming that
internet.
you hadn't taken a
Oh,
look,
well, we
so
can wait.
I would
did.
recommend waiting. I
Okay.
assumed you were going to.
Do
I
you-
read them, but
So, oh, you have read
Oh.
them? Has everyone read them?
I have not.
okay.
Have
then.
not? Okay.
No, because they're not actually in the,
They came in at, I don't know, 4 or
they're
5
in the,
o'clock.
they're in the folder
Today.
above this folder. They're not in the right
I
folder.
didn't put them anywhere.
I know you didn't.
Oh.
Okay,
Right,
let's
we'll wait.
just
We'll pass it
then.
over.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So
Doing
we're
good.
gonna have to do that next time. I'm just kidding.
Oh, my goodness.
Add to it, because approval of minutes always takes a
I'm
really long
totally
time.
kidding.
Do it as a
Sorry.
consent and do 2 sets of minutes at once.
I'm feeling very feisty.
All right, warrant. let's move along.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that the committee accept warrant number 17 dated October 21st, 2021, in the amount of $486,244.27.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Motion carries 3-0. SEIU contract.
So
Kristen.
tonight, you should have in your folder a copy of the MOA for the SEIU contract. It is our last of our union negotiated contracts. This represents our paraprofessionals, our media clerks, and our attendance clerks. The duration is similar to our other contracts of 3 years, so 2021 through 2024. The holidays were updated to include Indigenous Peoples' Day as well as Juneteenth. There is personal day language that is new, similar to the teacher contract, which essentially gives an incentive for attendance and not using as many instances of absence. There is a newly established or reestablished labor management committee, which essentially allows for or provides for quarterly meetings between the paraprofessional union and the superintendent, assistant superintendent. So that's a sort of resurrected. Our principals already meet with our paraprofessionals on a regular basis. There is a new wage scale consistent with the other units, 2.5%, 2.5%, and 2%. There are some new stipends in this contract, 3 in total. One is for intensive daily living work that the paraprofessionals do with students, discrete trial training, as well as de-escalation training. And then there's what's called RBT, which essentially is a certification higher than the discrete trial training and intensive daily living training. And then finally, there is a new retirement clause. This is new to this contract or this union, but it is similar to the other unions that we have, clauses for both teacher, nurse, and custodial unions. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If there are not, I think we do need to have a vote. If that's
And just to clarify, they have not signed it yet, correct?
correct. So they are they've seen it.
Right.
And they are voting tomorrow
Okay.
afternoon.
All right. This looks great. You both were on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kristen, just on the very last page, the reference to the 2019 to 2021 CBA, just, you were there, obviously I wasn't, but just checking that it wasn't supposed to be 2020 to 2021, because I thought it was just for 1 year.
So theirs
Did
was
it start
actually
at
a 2019 to 2021
It did,
contract.
okay.
Yes,
I assumed, I just had to ask.
yes.
It looks like everything we discussed.
Rahul Rathi's name is misspelled on the signature page.
Oh.
Do you have a copy for us to sign tonight? Or
I
you
do.
Okay. I'll take a motion and then we can have any discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Grafton School Committee and SEIU Local 888 school year support staff employees for the duration of 2021 through 2024.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Looks good to me. Right. No discussion. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kristen.
Well, I want to thank the paraprofessional unit. They worked really hard to get this contract, and I'm hoping that their unit is satisfied with it and happy with their work.
Good. All right. Just don't let us forget to sign it.
Yes.
Don't let us leave.
What?
Yeah, I said, don't let us leave.
Yeah, don't let us leave. FY '22 budget update.
Yes, just as a reminder, Anita puts together the snapshot that is provided in your book for where we stand in terms of FY '22. We continue to be right on target. I'll continue to present the snapshot at the second meeting of every month, and we're in good shape right now.
On a related note, did the document that you prepared regarding the ESSER funds, did that answer people's questions? I thought it was excellent.
Oh,
Oh, yeah? I don't have any recollection of it.
the one you posted on
You
Facebook.
you posted it on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I feel like I post a lot on there.
No, you're so
It was
good
good,
at
though.
it.
You do a great job.
All right. Yeah, I'm drawing a complete blank, but
Okay,
I'm
you
glad
had
it went
answered,
over
so you
well.
had prepared one document to answer the
Oh,
question,
yeah, yeah,
where do the
right,
ESSER
right,
funds
right.
go?
It was two-part, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
yeah,
prepared a
sorry.
second one.
Correct. Yeah, no follow-up from
Okay.
either,
Okay.
which will include a cleaned-up version of that in that it's going to develop in our budget, our
Yeah.
large-scale budget book
Yeah.
as well. We love to being that transparent about it. And again, thanks to Anita. I know it's her job, but it's tough with all that funding. It's not as if it's one bucket of money.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to go to like 12 different buckets and pull. So,
Are you all
yeah,
right? Do you
thank
need
you.
your pen back?
No, I just,
It's a new pen from a special school.
it is, and it fell apart.
Just to clarify on that too, because a lot of it was staff, and I don't know if people remember or understand that last year when we went, we were essentially running like 3 different districts. We had to hire a lot of staff to come in to do that remote. We were very lucky in Grafton that
Oh,
we
yeah.
could have students having one remote teacher and not quite as much. I know there was some. So that's where a lot of the staff
Oh,
came from.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like we were able to bolster our everyday staff for the next, I mean, they're not all with us anymore.
no.
So I
Very
don't know.
few
I
are.
think when people just see staff, I get worried that they're like, oh, they hired, which
No,
wouldn't that
we-
be
we-
nice? But
The reason we did as well as we did is we essentially built and ran with these monies
Yeah.
an online school. And only because we, to some degree, rolled the dice and hired early. We made the decision late July, August, that this was the way to go. So we hired, and then districts that didn't engage in that until mid to late August, they couldn't find anybody.
right.
So we were very fortunate. That worked out incredibly well for us.
Do you ever wish, though, that we could continue to run, not remote learning, but when you have staff who are out because they're quarantining or
Oh, sure.
that they could teach from home? Like, that was some flexibility that I feel like we enjoyed last year that seemed to work. And now we can't. And I feel like,
Right.
first of all, I feel like a lot of parents forget that that's no longer an option. We don't get to pick from that anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Because somebody pointed that out. Well, what, instead of hiring subs, why don't we just have the teachers teach when they're homesick? I'm like, first of all, if they're homesick, they should be resting and not teaching.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, if they're just home on a quarantine, we can't. It's
Right.
kind of unfortunate in a way.
I think
Anyway.
a lot of our tools, though, and things that we learned from remote teaching are definitely being brought back into the classroom now. I mean, we've
Oh,
seen
no
evidence
question.
of it.
We talk about it constantly. I think Kevin Carney at the high school is doing a brilliant job in terms of QCC, more looking at options with remote learning through virtual high school, for example, looking at ways to do things differently. I think we did a visit over there today. I think he does an exceptional job in that area.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll move into policy.
Thank you for that update. I always appreciate those
You-
financial
that was
updates. Thank you.
All Anita, I'll thank her, though.
You want me to do it again?
Yeah, you do such a good job.
All right. So we have a couple of policies that we are presenting tonight. The first one being in section E, policy EBCA, emergency plans for first reading. The policy committee is recommending that we replace this with the MASC policy. It was more detailed, describes how the superintendent will develop and maintain plans to meet the requirements of state law for preparedness of civil emergencies, fire, natural disasters. It lays out what the components of that plan should be in really good detail, and that it will annually review this policy in coordination with the local police and fire officials. So I think it has a lot more detail than our original policy had, which would just talked about how building principals should meet the requirements for conducting safety drills, and didn't include nearly the detail that this policy does.
Interesting that MASC hasn't reviewed this since August 2015.
We liked it.
Yeah. We
still
reviewed
liked
it,
it. Yep.
2021, and liked it.
Good.
Any questions, Amy?
Nope, I have
You're
no
the-
questions.
You're the only one
Vote
that
on
would have
these
questions.
individually, or do you want me to go through all of them at once?
Let's just go through all of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll do one motion, then we'll be done.
Okay.
Because I'm the only one that is
You're-
going to have anything
You are
to
the
s-
only one who would probably have.
I mean,
any-
Lauren, I am
unless our high school
support.
reps have something to chime in. I
any
mean, two of them are just deleting them because they're superfluous, and you know I'm in favor of that.
Yes.
So the next one, policy EBCE, emergency closings.
Sorry.
It is.
Yeah. Sorry, Liz. I was
I'm
just-
going back
okay.
to the computer. It's just
Yeah.
hard to read in the packet.
Oh, okay. We just had a small change to this policy, as you can see. We just wanted to make sure that emergency conditions, that it's clear that it includes widespread illness.
Oh, yes.
Oh, did you want to go back to E EBCC1 and EBCC?
No, I already read them.
Oh, okay. Well, just to talk it through on camera.
Oh, I guess we can do that.
I-
No, I appreciate, so I appreciate widespread illness and not necessarily a specific, because my initial thought was, oh, should we use the word pandemic? But then I realized that, I don't know that,
Schools
was it
have
SARS that we
schools
had?
shut down in 2008, I believe it was, for H1N1.
And, yeah, and that wasn't considered a pandemic, right?
Right,
It was
no.
just a,
Yeah,
Okay.
or
Hopefully
Everybody
so.
has the stomach bug.
that was a good reason to shut
But
down.
even the flu, schools across the Commonwealth
Yeah.
have shut down because of widespread cases of flu,
Hopefully we
too.
don't have
So
that.
we've talked about that.
Okay, so we have to go back.
What did
What?
you need me to go back to?
I
Uh,
just thought if you
The
wanted
two
to-
that we're deleting, we should probably say on camera what we're doing there.
Oh, am I missing
EBCC1.
something in my?
They're there, but they're blank because we crossed it all out, so it's more online. But the threat assessment policy, Liz, on the agenda, you can see.
Oh,
in the-
okay, I
yeah.
skipped over that page,
Yeah, it's easy to skip over because of,
But we don't have it, so we don't have in our packet what we're.
well, you have it all
deleting.
on the side, but it's online.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
Yeah, I read it. It seemed awfully wordy.
Do you want, I can summarize it. So basically what we had was two policies, one on a threat assessment policy and one on regulations and procedures for bomb threats, which were just two separate policies. MASC doesn't have any policies on this. And basically it was like, the principals will assemble a team. And then step by step, we talked to Dr. Cummings. He said, the immediate thing they're gonna do is call the police, which kind of is summarized in the EBCA emergency plans. So these were just seemed like, as you said it so well, superfluous.
It was too regimented. I mean,
Yeah.
it had a step-by-step process that if something did go wrong and they went back and said, well, was the policy followed? Okay, well, step 5 and the policy was not followed. And it seemed nonsensical at this point. It was much too regimented. It was not practical. I think in this situation, we have a policy that we're putting forth that is in a lot of detail regarding emergency plans. I think there's also, you have to act quickly in this and not, you don't want to
Don't
go
stop
back
to
and
read the policy.
consult the policy. See, we have a bomb threat. We haven't had one of those in 15 years. What do we do? Okay.
I find it odd that bomb threat is specifically.
I guess it was
It's probably-
in response to something.
Yeah.
This is an older policy, which I totally get. But I think also we spoke with Dr. Cummings, and he shared, I mean, everybody comes up with their emergency plans. It's review as part of being a building in your leadership team. And then it does triggers into discipline policies too, I think, which we also have. So,
Yeah.
I don't know where and I'm sure at the time and someday, 10 years from now, people might look at our policies and
Well, I just wonder if duck and cover was in there in the 60s and 70s.
Well, there
Probably.
are, even if bomb threats seem to be a thing of the past, we have had scares.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shooting scares and
Oh,
things
sure.
like that
Yeah,
have come
yeah.
into our
Yeah.
schools more recently. But I think any of those instances would be covered by
Right.
the initial policy that we're proposing. And it's comprehensive and covers all of those things. We don't need a specific policy to address just bomb threats.
Yeah.
And this
Great.
is one that everyone will be familiar with because we have one, not three, so that it goes along with our whole effort to condense things, to make it more accessible and easier to remember and understand and process and use, which is the whole point of having these.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you, Laura. for-
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because we
Highlight,
are
yeah.
deleting policies, and I wanted some
Yeah.
record if we ever had to go back and find out why we deleted policies.
Absolutely. I breezed right over that.
They're superfluous.
Is,
Okay.
all right.
Oh, that answered my question.
So,
I had a good question lined up, but I just found the answer in the policy. Never mind.
okay.
Oh, look at that!
I was going to ask, because we had,
Okay.
going back to EBCE, emergency closings, I was going to ask if we ever close one building, and it's in there.
Yep.
But I would think that'd be more of an environmental, like, pipe burst kind of situation
Or
than.
no heat, or
Right.
That or
I think
power.
No,
we've
heat,
had
no,
to,
put on a coat. Come on, there's learning to be done.
yeah. Well, I think we have, I think we have had to do it, or almost had to do it at one school where, the boiler busted and there was a flooding, or maybe it was a lake.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember
We've
that?
had- Yeah. oh,
Yeah,
Times.
so it has, yeah.
it's tough.
All right.
So, okay,
One
and
more.
then the last one, E EBCEE, school cancellation guidelines. Again, we just made a small addition to this to clarify, even though our delayed openings are usually 2 hours, we discussed this and said it makes sense that it would be 2 hours, not anything less than that. We wanted to clarify that there's that flexibility there, that it could be just an hour if circumstances warrant that, so.
Well, that's right. It's almost that time of year. Your favorite. Sending
October
out
last year was the first snow
sending out that
day.
email to the parents, and these are the TV channels you can watch.
Oh, yeah.
And-
First line, superintendent or his designee.
Laura.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. I was late in the I was pressed for time. You're right, or their designate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, excellent.
Thank
We
you.
all
Amy.
work as a team.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
my favorite policy, though.
Would you say there, Laura?
I would say there.
There, yep, okay, we agreed.
As if he would designate anyone else. Kristen just looked at me. Are we going to get calls from Kristen this year?
It might happen.
No, ma'am.
Or Amy Marr, head of school committee.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
that
I'm
is-
really good at 4 a.m. Please try calling me at 4 a.m.
That is it for our policy
Excellent job.
recommendations.
These are great.
Thanks.
I'm trying to think of why we would not do a 2-hour, but
We used to have 1 hour delays back in Pennsylvania.
no, I know we did, and that always messed with me.
Which I hated because they
Because
were.
I feel like today,
we wouldn't probably.
I feel like it's hard enough for some folks to do the math and figure out what time to put their kid out at the bus stop. We can't change it. It's got to be 2 hours or cancel at this point, I feel like.
Well, we like flexibility.
We do. I agree.
Also, it was worded. I think it just said 2 hours, so we just were adding.
You're just
some-
adding up to, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, technically, you could
And we love doing early releases. Those are the best. Come get your kids.
Which, speaking of which, we have an early release tomorrow.
We do. For teacher professional
Not for weather.
development. Yeah, not for weather.
All right.
That snuck up on people.
So would it be fine if one of us, since even though
Yeah,
we're on the
it's
Yeah, go
committee, to
ahead.
make a
We'll accept it
recommendation?
as a first reading and
All
then,
right, so I move that the school committee accept policy E EBCA, EBCE. Wait, that number is not right.
Yep.
Hold on.
EBCEE.
EBCEE as a first reading.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 3-0.
I move that the school committee delete policy E EBCC1 and E EBCCR.
Second.
That's still a first reading. Can you amend your motion?
I amend my motion to say I
Does it have
recommend.
to be?
I move that the school
Yeah, hold on a minute. Go ahead.
committee delete policies E EBCC1 and E EBCCR as a first reading.
Yeah. That's good. Do you accept her amendment?
Yeah.
I want to give the rest of the committee a chance to weigh in on that, because
Okay.
literally, I won't be here next time, but they will.
Okay.
And that way they get a chance to weigh in. I don't think you're going to have a problem, but,
Okay.
because we're only accepting that first one as a first reading, that's supposed to encapsulate the content of the two that we're deleting. So
Yeah.
we technically can't delete two and not have the other one on the books. So, great. Any other discussion? I'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0. Good work. All right. Member reports. Are there any member reports? No member reports. Okay. I have a member report. I'm going to be away next week. So Laura's going to chair the meeting. I'm sure she's going to do a great job. And I wanted to just kind of express my personal support for the Millbrae School Committee. They're going through a really tough time right now. They've been threatened, they've been harassed. There's an attempt to recall 3/5 of the committee. And I believe the first part of that process is successful. So they're looking at not only trying to make policy and budgeting through a pandemic, now they also have to basically run again, which is really, really unfortunate. So I just wanted to kind of express my personal support for them and what they're going through. I know they're meeting again tomorrow night, so we'll see. Our high school representatives, Annabelle, you got anything?
Yeah, I do. So the Bon Voyage Committee started a new fundraiser called Swamping. And this is where 12 gators are placed in the front yard of someone who has been basically nominated, and along with huge letters. And once you've been swamped, you can choose to swamp another person and make a donation. So, and there's 2 sets of gators around town. Unfortunately, they had to be picked up this afternoon because of the winds that are expected tonight. We can't have gators flying everywhere.
Flying gators.
Flying gators.
Yeah, no.
And our sports teams are doing very well. I think I might be wrong, but I think every sports team other than football, who has their senior night this Friday, is on to either the championship games, but their regular season is over. The Swickle Championships, Southern Michigan County League, has started, I believe, and if not already over for some of us. And then moving on to states if this team qualifies for it. Very
And
exciting.
I know our football team is still undefeated.
Yes.
That's right.
Again,
7-0.
coincidence?
So,
Yeah,
don't know.
they're killing it.
Could
And
be.
our girls cross-country
Yeah.
team was
Mhm.
undefeated and
Yes.
won
A
Swickle
win.
on
Yeah.
Monday.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Do you know where
Yeah.
they go from there? Do they go to
I
the states?
think they go to districts, but
I think it's
do you know? I'm not sure.
districts.
Is it districts
I
first?
was asking today. I think it's districts, and then if they qualify,
Yeah.
they'll go to states, and they can qualify as individuals and as a team. The team's doing really well.
That's
And
great.
they had several members qualify just
Yeah.
in their own right too.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
I know we have a
Great.
golfer who's going to states on his own, Ryan
Yeah.
Sciampa.
yeah.
Right, right.
The team did very well. I think they won the Swickle.
A banner fall. Yeah.
That's great. Keep it up, Annabelle. Field hockey, right?
That's great.
When's your game?
Yes. So we found out our seatings on Monday, and we unfortunately just recently lost to Doherty last Friday.
Aw.
Yeah.
But you think you're in the top half?
Yes, we are. I think we're seated at 20 right now, but that's going to change as the teams keep playing.
Well, keep practicing in the rain.
Yeah, we will.
Anything else?
Not from me.
No?
There is a chorus concert this Thursday at 7 at the high school. It's the costume concert, and I'm pretty sure it's the first concert since the pandemic
Yeah,
started.
yeah,
too.
definitely.
Yeah, and band.
Fun.
Awesome. Yeah, and band, yep. I have 2 kids in it. That's exciting. Are you in chorus?
I am, yeah.
Good for you.
Nice.
I know it's good. There's a live stream link too.
Yeah, there is.
And I think GCTV is going to try to run it
Oh,
on
fun.
the Education Channel.
That's great.
So
Well, I will be there.
for those folks who can't, I'll be there
Bring
as
a
well.
sign.
Yeah, it's exciting to be able to see the kids doing the things that they're passionate about and apparently pretty good at. So congratulations. You must feel pretty great to have another concert, huh? It's been,
It does feel nice
Yeah.
to like actually be able to not sing just inside of a classroom.
are you guys doing
Great.
those masks, the big ones, or
No, it'll
No?
just be the regular
regular masks?
masks.
Good. And I know we have a play coming up next month. That'll
Yeah,
be exciting.
it's November 19th, 20th, and the 21st. It's the week right before Thanksgiving break, I
Yep.
think.
Are you in that, Mariska?
Yes, I am.
You're in it?
Yeah.
And what's it called?
Murder on the 518.
Excellent. That sounds fun.
It's really fun.
Too bad I already
recommend you
know.
all come see it.
Too bad I already know how it ends. But I'll still be there. That's exciting. Lots of good stuff happening.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us a window into what's going on in the high school. Still feels pretty normal, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty normal? Good. Good.
it's nice to have.
Okay, and I closed my agenda, so I don't know what's next. Oh, correspondence. Thanks. We did not have any correspondence that I'm aware of, although I sent a piece to the committee, and then I forgot to put it in the drive, so I'll loop it in for you for the
The
next.
petition to keep masks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just so it's in the official
Yeah.
record. So one piece of correspondence, we do not need executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.